monumental day for Los Angeles. We have a number of elected officials here with us: Mayor Antonio Villagrosa, Councilmember Jose Huizar, and Councilmember Ed Reyes. We're very excited to have you here. The City Council is taking place downstairs, so we'll be very brief. This is the first time Los Angeles has updated their zoning code in a comprehensive manner. Rewriting our zoning code is really the DNA of Los Angeles. 1946 on June 1st was the last time the city took on this in Denver. This is a monumental day for LA to recode Los Angeles. Today we're saddled with a zoning code that has grown from a thin pamphlet of 67 pages 67 years ago to a widely book today that's more than 600 pages, that has procedures that have been amended over the years, that many times don't realize the vision for Los Angeles that we've collectively gathered here today to discuss. Vibrant walkable streets, transit corridors that realize the mayor's vision for elegant density and capitalize on the opportunity represented by Measure R and the build-out of the regional transit system. Thriving small businesses, a green city based on principles of sustainability and development, livable communities, protections from neighborhoods. It's really time to recode Los Angeles. This is a very ambitious project, one of the largest planning initiatives that the department has taken on to date. With our city leaders, we hope that this is a time to engage the public, the development community, and all the stakeholders of Los Angeles into realizing the vision of Los Angeles for the complete neighborhoods and complete streets that we all want and strive for. This is the best opportunity to make Los Angeles the best place to live, work, and play. This is one of the goals of the mayor's development reform strategic plan that's again being carried out. It's not by accident that the number of community plans we've recently had adopted by the City Council and going through in the City Planning Commission. It's not an accident that we're realigning our city departments to be more customer focused, and it's not an accident that we're taking on a new zoning code for Los Angeles. It's time to make sure that we move Los Angeles forward, that we're competitive in the nation and the world for commerce, and that we also make sure that the quality of life of our neighborhoods is first class. This is a 5-year work program with very early deliverables, being a downtown development code in Councilman Huizar's district to make sure that downtown is poised as the economic engine for years to come for the city of Los Angeles. This will be a clear and predictable code. It'll be user-friendly, it'll be interactive, and it'll be an online experience. So those of you with your mobile phones will be able to interact with our zoning code rather than carrying around a book that's over 600 pages. There'll be a reader's guide, we'll use clear language, and this won't be something that only professionals will be able to engage with, but the average citizen will be able to utilize when they need to come to Los Angeles for a kitchen edition or to get some other type of relief. We need your help. We have hundreds of public meetings ahead of us, workshops, to make sure we get this right. We need the engagement of all the Angelinos and everybody in this room to make sure that we're all on the same page. When it comes time for adoption, we're singing from the same handbook. That we realize Los Angeles is a collection of various neighborhoods with distinct characteristics, and making sure our zoning code embodies that. Please stay involved and visit our website often at recode.la. We're very excited for this day. We have a few distinguished people here I'd like to mention. City Council President Bill Roshan is here to join us, who's been a big part of this. Daniel Gritzman from DIAC, as well as Arpi from DIAC, and a number of planning staff here today. Without the staff in the department and the brain trust we have, the number of people that are spending time every day in the various neighborhoods of Los Angeles, getting to know what you love about your neighborhoods, we would not be able to make this program successful. We also have a number of neighborhood council representatives here. If I can have you show your hands. Thank you so much for coming. The early involvement of the neighborhood councils is something that got us to this point today. I'd like to introduce our mayor, Mayor Antonio Villagrosa.
Los Angeles is completely revising our zoning code. We want all Angelinos to participate in this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and help us to recode LA. The new zoning code will reflect the diversity of Los Angeles, allowing each neighborhood to maintain a distinct sense of place while improving the sustainability, economic vitality, and quality of life for all residents. Let's face it, today's zoning code is not the most user-friendly document. 600 pages of legalese makes it difficult to understand what kind of development is allowed and how to get a project approved. The new code will be simple, clear charts and graphics that clarify the exact review process a project will go through. It will create more community planning tools that better address neighborhood concerns and help improve the quality of life in the city of Los Angeles. Now, there are many opportunities to participate in the creation of this new zoning code, and we invite you to be a part of the process. The Recode LA website will be the place to go to get the latest status updates, documents, meeting dates, and other information about the zoning code update. Be sure to click on the Participate link, sign up for email updates, and to learn how to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. With the city's general plan and community plans as our compass, we're rewriting the future of Los Angeles. It says here, thank Mike for that kind introduction. But since he mispronounced my name, Via Ricos. Say it.
Via Ricos.
There you go. You don't even have to roll the R. Just Via Ricos. Thank you. I want to acknowledge you and your leadership and the planning department team. Planning department team members, why don't you stand up? Those of you here. Little known story. I mean, toughest economic time since the Great Recession. We've cut a third of the LA General Fund civilian workforce. So these people have done what they've done in the last 8 years under very difficult circumstances with a fraction of the staff that we used to have for much of the work that we do. That's why I wanted to thank you. Because in the 8 years here, working with my friend and someone who's been the chair of the Plum Committee all of this time, Councilmember Reyes and Councilmember Huizar, we've done more around comprehensive community plans, and now, the Development Services Cabinet. Now you will go to one department. As of July 1st, you used to go to 14 different departments. And then we, over time, took them to 7, and the Development Services Cabinet, where big projects could go and get one straight answer with us working together. And now we're going to go to one department. And that's a great thing. For a restaurant, it used to take 3 years to open up a restaurant in LA. And if you've seen a lot of new restaurants, a lot of great new restaurants in LA, it's because it takes about 6-7 months now to open up a restaurant. And with this new recode, if you will, of the zoning codes, it's the most comprehensive effort in 67 years. So give them a big hand. And mostly what I want to say was that we're doing all of this because folks, and I speak to all of you, including particularly the neighborhood councils, you got to understand, this is probably, when it comes to big cities, the most difficult big city to work in. I talk to mayors around the country. If you remember, I used to be the president of the Conference of Mayors. I can tell you, LA is one of the most difficult cities to maneuver through when it comes to development. And that's starting to change. And it's starting to change because of the people here. It's starting to change because of the leadership of the council representatives who have worked hand in glove with us to make it, to redo our community plans, to engage in this effort, to rezone. And for those of you who don't know the difference between the zoning code and the community plan, essentially the zoning code is the enforcement mechanism, as I understand, for the community plans. And we need that because we got to make it easier and smarter, more transparent, and to develop in this town, to do it smart, to do it according to community consensus, and that's what we're going to do. So I want to thank our staff for this. I'm particularly excited that there'll be a consolidated one department. That was something we wanted to do for the last 4 years, and took some time convincing everybody that that's what we should do. But with the community plans, once we get out of this, as we're getting out of this recession, we'll be accelerating all of the community plans. We're going to update all 26. Is that 35? 9 were already done. So all 35 of the community plans, with the zoning changes over the next 5 years, we're going to be smarter and more livable. Because finally, let me just say, I don't need any notes for this. The whole vision, and we're stuck now. The whole vision around making the city more livable is a vision that has to include public transit. And I know most of us don't get on the bus or on a train, but we're going to change that. If you want to make the city more livable, you can't go 2 blocks in the market in your single passenger automobile and wonder why we have gridlock. We like to joke it's because the mayor hasn't fixed it, but it's actually because we haven't changed our ways. And one of the things that we're going to do with these zoning changes and with the community plans is you're going to see along transportation corridors, the light rail lines, busways, you're going to see people living along those corridors. You're going to see them shopping and working along those transit stations. And we put the first transit-oriented cabinet, together. It's the first one in the nation where we're looking at how we, in a smart way, really kind of reimagine the city of LA in places like downtown, in places like Hollywood, along the Wilshire Corridor, along the Exposition, wherever we have light rail lines and busways. So thank you, Michael. Particularly thank all of you. We really appreciate the work that you've done under very, very trying circumstances over the last few years. But we're making some game-changing changes that people are going to see for another 50 years. So thank you. And with that, let me bring up the chairperson of Plum, someone who really understands. I mean, this is somebody who's an urban planner, got a degree from UCLA, worked for a council member for a number of years, I think 8 years or so, and then for 12 has been, chairing, sitting on this committee and chairing it as well. So help me in welcoming Council Member Ed Reyes.
Thank you, Mayor Villaraigosa.
Fair.
It's okay, Mike. Go ahead. But I want to thank all of you for being here at Code Studio for your congratulations for this work. But I want to thank the staff. I don't want to repeat everything the Mayor just said. I think it's important that we understand just how intense it's been for the staff, and to see them produce the way they have truly is admirable. And I want to thank you as chair of this committee. For 12 years I've seen those changes, and to understand that there's that passion in the department to make this city right is critical. So I want to thank you and Michael for your leadership in that. I want to thank our commissioners. Thank you, sir, for being here. And I quite frankly believe that with this reform, you're going to see this city begin to address this imbalance. We've talked about the tale of two cities. Now we'll have the ability with these community plans that are going to be updated to really embrace the parts of the city that need this attention. Now, when you look at the international economy, the more we strengthen the communities we've neglected over the decades, the stronger we're going to become in an international economy. Because the umbilical cord that connects the highest number of people who are from the Philippines, from Korea, from China, from Mexico, from Central America, that's us. And when we can improve our business corridors, we can improve our mom and pop stores, and we can make a difference in the quality of life for those children who are living in poverty because mom and pop businesses are doing better because they don't have to wait those 3 years. That is a game changer for everyone. So this is not just about the bureaucracy, and perhaps if you have a condensed version of the code book and that little iPod or that new gadgets they have every other year, smartphones, the S4, there you go. I'm not getting paid to pronounce all these different products, but the fact is we're going to have to deal with maybe a shortfall in expediting business. We don't mean to cut into your business, folks, but the fact is we can complement each other. And when we understand how the expediting world works within the halls of this building, issue of access to the general public is key. So when we transform our behavior here and the expediters become not only that which addresses those that have, but also understand the volume of dollars and moving businesses and the have-nots, this city will become that much better. So I am very, very proud to be here. I have been very blessed to work with very great people. When I entered the department, it was back in 88, 89, I don't mind saying that. And it's great to see many of us grow up in this department and to see people fulfill roles and to see how we can mentor the younger generation who come in really talented. They know the industries, they know the technology probably better than we do. Let's give them a chance, folks. Let them show their stuff so that we can move forward and make a greater city. So Code Studies is going to be working hard, and we're going to go through transformations, but I think the transformation will be key to this megalopolis, this international center we call Los Angeles. And for that, I thank you, and I thank you for the 12 years of working with you. Thank you so much. I do want to point out Rebecca Valdez, who has been my co-worker in making great things happen in the committee. Rebecca, thank you for your hard work over these years.
Our good friend, Don Pepito Huizar.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And, you know, on Friday we had the mayor's big bash out here. We had a great singer called Pepe Aguilar, for those of you who know him. And so I introduced Pepe Aguilar by saying that the mayor has called me Don Pepe. And I said, thank you for the don, which in Spanish means a lot of respect, right? But the Pepe means for younger people. So I said, and thank you for calling me young. But I also said there's only one Don Pepe in this town, and that's Pepe Aguilar. So they had to find another nickname for me, and they chose Don Pepito. But thank you. That means I'm even younger. I'm a teenager now. So, but good morning, all. Thank you all for being here. I think this is a very, very important occasion for the city of Los Angeles as it looks towards its future. Not only as we upgrade our zoning code, but we think comprehensively about how we're going to do that as we upgrade many of our community plans that have not been upgraded in a long time. And also as we look at the merger of the Building and Safety Department along with the Planning Department, this is indeed a very exciting time for the city of Los Angeles. And I can't say enough about our Planning Department and its leadership with Michael Logrand, because as the mayor mentioned, we've had enormous cuts in the last 3 years. And one of the areas that's been felt most dramatically is in our Planning Department. But yet the City Council wants to do more, our mayor wants to do more, we're constantly asking for more, and they've been able to move us forward. And not only do the everyday things that move the city forward, but also starting to look ahead. And that is a challenge within the department, which is how do you do your everyday things and at the same time think ahead about what's the future. And that's probably one of the most important things that a planning department can do. It's one of the most important things that a city can do. When you think about it, zoning code and creating the type of environment you would like to live in and implement our general plan and our community plans, it really comes down to how we're going to look at our zoning code and create that environment. We know in the city of Los Angeles, we want to get a...
that will create great jobs and tax revenue for our city. The current outdated zoning code discourages economic investment in our city, which results in the loss of much needed jobs and tax revenue. In Los Angeles, Property owners and community stakeholders are forced to deal with an outdated zoning code that typically makes creative and innovative development projects that will benefit everyone in the city impossible to build. All too often, my developer clients retain great architects who design amazing projects. Property owners are willing to spend extra money to design projects that we as community leaders would be proud to have built in our city. However, we soon realize that developing that project is not allowed because, for instance, the zoning code does not allow a specific type of architectural feature. I think if I call Alan Bell one more time and say, "What do you mean I can't do this?" He's going to throw me out the window. As a result of this outdated zoning code, we end up with bland buildings, not the amazing architecture that the greatest city in the country deserves. Nearby cities, such as Culver City, Beverly Hills, Glendale, and Burbank, have a streamlined development process and a clear zoning code that allows property owners and community stakeholders a clear understanding of what is allowed and what the process is. In order for Los Angeles to compete with these neighboring cities, the development process and rules must be clear, concise, and uniform. Community stakeholders need to understand what type of development is permitted on a specific property. On the same note, a property owner should be able to easily determine the type of development that is permitted on his property and the process that he must undertake to commence development. Updating the zoning code, combined with consolidating city departments that deal with development, is a significant step towards making Los Angeles competitive and the greatest city in the state. I look forward to continuing to work with Michael, Alan Bell, Tom Rothman, and the rest of the great planning department staff to make this vision a reality. Thank you.
Let me just add to two things you said. We don't just want to compete. I mean, the goal has always been, I've been here my whole life. I was born and raised here. The goal has always been not just to compete with Santa Monica, Culver City, Beverly Hills. We want to compete with Shanghai, with London, with New York. This is a great city. This is a world-class city. So yes, we do want to make sure that our zoning code is competitive with the region, but we want to put LA on the map. Some of the greatest architects in the world live here and work in other places. And that's a fact. And we want to change that. And that's what this zoning code changes is going to help us do. So thank you very much. And, you know, look, we can't do any of this without community input and support. I think one of the reasons why many of the neighborhood councils and leaders were excited to participate in this process is that, you know, when you have what we have right now, you don't have transparency, you don't have certainty, you really oftentimes don't really have projects that reflect, you know, the community consensus. When you recode in the way that we're doing, when you update your community plans, you do it in a way that includes stakeholders. And one of those very, very important stakeholders are neighborhood councils. And I'd like to bring up Kathy Deladon, the president of a great neighborhood in Los Angeles, Tarzana Neighborhood Council.
As a long-term community activist and one who has been involved with land use issues for probably about 20 years, I want to first thank the mayor. I'm not tagging your name. And then the planning department, who I've worked closely over the years, Michael LeGrand, Alan Bell, Tom Rothman, just for undertaking this tremendous project, and very much needed. Neighborhood councils, homeowner associations, coalitions, and other community groups are grateful. But so are the small business owners and small property owners who don't have the resources to pay expensive consultants and attorneys to walk them through the code. We're here, the community is here to support you, Michael, in this endeavor. Thank you very much for doing this.
ribbon cutting. How about that? Never done this. And by the way, very, very soon, well, we already have one up. All of this will be on your smartphone. I mean, that's what's, we're finally getting into the